wedding down there.
Oh, yeah, somebody said that.
Just briefly, the school opened up in 1872, was a high school until 1926, and then was the village school for the grammar school until 1952. During that time, this bridge was called unofficially the Schoolhouse Bridge because of the proximity to the school. Actually, the whole corner was called the Schoolhouse Corner. So when we were rehabilitating the school, and we decided, and John Curtis, one of our board members, was researching the survivors of the Schoolhouse Bridge, he said, "Did you know that it was called the Schoolhouse Bridge?" And of course, my mind that thinks exposure, fundraising, yabba dabba doo, let's make it the Schoolhouse Bridge again. So I was a legislator in New Hampshire, and I knew that it just couldn't happen. It had to be a bill. It had to go into the legislature. So I contacted our legislator, and he introduced the bill, and we're going to go from there. And I'm going to let Senator Brian Langley tell you his part in renaming the bridge. Brian Langley.
Good morning, everyone. It's really fun to be here. Geet had actually contacted me, I think 2 years ago, but the first time she contacted me it was too late. After closure, all of our bills were in. So, and she's like a dog on a bone, so she didn't forget. And the second, so I just was looking through my notes, and she contacted me in December of this year to make sure that we got the bill in again. Now, you can imagine in the legislature with over 2,000 bills that when you get one to rename a bridge, it doesn't really cause a lot of excitement. Sometimes you get chided a little bit by your colleagues about, what are you doing? You know, we have to have a bill, we have to have a public hearing, and we have to do all this stuff. But that's the way that it works. But there's kind of another side to this. My job in the legislature is I chair the Education and Cultural Affairs Committee. Education gets 99.9% of the news. The 0.1% is the cultural affairs side of it. That's our Maine State Museum, the Historical Preservation Commission, the Arts Commission, all of the pieces that have to do with our Maine heritage and our Maine culture, with our bicentennial being a big thing coming up in 1920. 2020. I know I'm hitting some of your high school years in here, so forgive me. So one time I was talking with the Historical Preservation Commission, Earl Shuttleworth, some of you may know his name. So I asked him, I said, what kinds of things should people put off to the side and maybe save and for future generations to look at and look back at? And he said, those things that mattered the most in people's everyday lives. And so today when we do something as simple as rename a bridge, but it has a lot of meaning for the town of Surry and in the history of Surry. So it's a pretty important piece, really. And the work that the local preservation committee has done to keep that school in front of people, as a reminder of what it was like. Imagine that as a high school in today's 40, 50, $70 million high schools that are built. And I dare say they probably got just as good an education in that little building as they get in a $70 million building. So it's really important. It's really important that you do this and that you commemorate that and you don't forget it. I am a school teacher, and I taught in Ellsworth at the vocational school with Charlie and Dan, who are sitting here. And I taught tourism for a number of years. And I had a student from Surry named Tina Bonzi. And you might know the Bonzi name, right? There's a few of you around for a number of generations. So the assignment that I gave was to do the history of your hometown, develop a tour, and then we'll take the rest of the students on that tour. And sure enough, we came over to Surry, we were at the firehouse, we were at the local schoolhouse, and so I had a real appreciation for the town of Surry and its history, certainly coming out of the Bonzi family. So it's a real pleasure to be here. You know, there was not a heavy debate in the public hearing over this at all. So, and Geet came down and a couple others and did a really nice job. So glad to say that it got unanimous support all the way right through. So, and so today to do this, it's really quite special. So thanks for having me.
Thank
And it's a lot of fun to work on this.
Thank you, Brian. So what I'd like to do now is have Steve Bemis, who is the chair of the select board, and Rebecca Colson. Raise your hand, Rebecca. She's the one of the other selectmen, and Steve is now going to give us a few words about this whole thing. Steve Bemis, with 2 S's.
Right. She told me to be brief. I like that. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a story and give you a confession. How's that? Not Catholic. Okay? I think the confession would be better. When we were first approached, the select people, there were some of us who were a little bit, what are we doing this for? What's this going to be used for? How much money are we going to spend? And we came out there and we said, no, we don't want to do this. The people of the town said, we want to do this. Okay? So we said, look, we got to do what the people say. That's what we're here for. I don't know how many meetings, but we back and forth, we got it all through. And right now, I will say, those people are right on it, and we are very happy that they are. Very happy. When I first heard about this, I walked into my house and the phone rang. A lady from Brooksville called and said, you know, I heard you guys are going to try and take an old building and get it together and whatnot. Don't do it! And she screamed it just like that. And she was one of us, with old people. You know? I said, okay. Why? Well, we've been working on ours for 8 years and it's not even half done. You can't do it. People will not do it. People can do it. And that's a true story. They're still working on it. They're just about done. And that would put them, I'd say, 11 years out. And think how few years these people have managed to do it. It's great. It's really something I'm happy to see. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Everybody here that went to school at the Old Village School, raise your hand. That is awesome. And those of you who graduated from the Old Surry School, raise your hand. I didn't. I went to kindergarten. Okay. We really, really, really appreciate that. When he spoke about the time length, when we took the vote to the town, we told them a 3-year period. We finished the 2nd year, April 16th, so that we are happily in our 3rd year, very close to the completion of the rehabilitation of the school. The next part, what we call phase 2, is buying the piece of property this side, the other side of the bridge, this side of the school, which was the playground when I went to school there. When they first had the school, it was high school, so they didn't have a playground. But in 1926, when the high school closed, and the 9 district schools in Surry started closing and coming to the village school, they needed a playground for these kids. So the Milliken family deeded this piece of property to the town with the caveat that if it ceased to be a school, they would get the land back. So in 1952, the school was given back, so it went back to the Milliken family. It is now for sale. This land has been for sale for over 11 years. We're hoping phase 2, which is money to buy that piece of property, turn it into a park in Meadow, which comes down the Toddy Pond Road, around the school, and flows into Patton's Bay, would once again be a beautiful spot for a park, for a gazebo. We can envision some granite benches there and a trail around the whole piece of the property, phase 2. I will say we had a budget to begin with of $200,000, which was buying the piece of property for $135,000, and what does that make for the building? $65,000 for the building. We are very close to that. We've had a few overruns, but let me tell you, we have raised over $100,000 with donations and fundraising. And we're going to be done with that school for right around the $65,000 that we were asking for to begin with. The big price tag is the property, but it has a septic system, and a modern septic system, and water, and we need both of them. Senator Collins, the first year that we were rehabilitating, sent us, I asked for a flag that was flown over the Capitol to be put on the flagpole down there, and she sent us to us. And she's been very supportive of everything that we needed. So I wanted her to be here. She was down to Jackson Lab on Wednesday. She didn't want to come back for our celebration. Shame on her. But anyway, she did send a letter. I want to read it quickly. August 24th, 2018. Dear friends, congratulations! Exclamation point. I am delighted to join the town of Surry in celebrating the naming of the Old Surry Schoolhouse Bridge. This dedication ceremony is a time to appreciate the rich history of your town. The Old Surry Village Schoolhouse is an important landmark here, and I applaud the efforts of the citizens and volunteers who have come together to restore and preserve it. The renaming of this bridge to reflect Surry's historic ties to the Old Village Schoolhouse is a testament to your hard work, dedication to your community, and you should be proud of all that you have accomplished. Again, congratulations as you celebrate this occasion, and best wishes for the future. And I think in parentheses she says, check to follow. I don't know. Guys, you have been great. I would like to take these 6 people right here that went to the school and graduated from the school, have them walk up to there, and they're going to unveil the sign. Going this way, Walter. Wilbur. This way, Walter.
Awesome.
Richard, I think you can reach that. Guys, the Old Surry Schoolhouse Bridge is forever now, and let's clap as they uncover it.